Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I am delighted to welcome a very senior leader from the world of banking and finance from Singapore, Seetha Cristian. Seetha, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh. Very, very, grateful and thankful at the same time to be invited.
Thank you. Seetha is the Executive Director for Liquidity and IRRBB Technology at the Standard Chartered Bank. She has been recognized as Asia's Woman Leader of 2024, and she's also been honored 6 times as LinkedIn Top Voice. So, Seetha, before we talk about an area which you're passionate about, which is transformation, technology, and leadership, my first question is, tell me about your own journey in brief and what shaped your passion for change and transformation.
Yeah, happy to share. I would say that I started my journey, after university, started it from the ground up, like everybody else. Started as a developer, ventured into various roles like, business analyst, project manager, technical writer, even. I've gone into multiple industries and finally landed into the bank where I've now been 14 years. Happily going through different roles and challenging myself.
Amazing.
And this has been pivotal for me because it has sort of triggered me and catapulted me into the change scene.
And what were some of the pivotal moments that led you to become a transformation leader?
I would say two main moments, pivotal moments in my life, to be very honest. And frankly, one was the fact that I lost my job. I was at the point of losing the job. It was very, very difficult at that point. At that point, I felt, before even being told that I've lost my job, I always felt, things were going smooth. It's fine. Everything was just flowing and I was a PM, et cetera, at that time. So that at that point, when I lost my job, it sort of triggered or urged me to try something different. And I was in a way forced to, because I needed that to bring bread and butter back home. And that force actually helped me experiment. So that was a huge pivotal moment because it allowed me to experiment. It allowed me to take one step forward, which I was totally uncomfortable with, and take a chance on myself.
Incredible.
Give myself an opportunity. So that was one moment in life. And that moment sort of led to another moment where I then stepped up to the CIO at that point, requested him. I'm not a person that will talk to seniors, okay? Nevertheless, I'm a person who'll sit at the back and do work quietly. But this time I told myself, no, I know who I am now more than before. I know what I've done. And I know I can contribute more value. So this is my first step, speaking to a very senior person in the organization and saying, I want to do more. I can do more. And this is what I would like to do. Can you help me? Reaching out for help, having faith in myself was the second most pivotal moment. And both of them have helped to catapult me into moving into Singapore. And it's been going straight on after that.
As they say, the rest is history.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Seetha, from your lens, how has your own cultural and regional background shaped your leadership approach in the corporate world?
It's a very, wow. I'm surprised with that question, to be very honest. I would have to say this. You see, I come from a background where, we are always told not to ask questions. Don't do that. And if you come too forward, then it's actually not becoming of you, right? Also, the other culture is, you're a girl. You should not be actually working in the computers. Yeah, and then at the same time, I'm often being compared with my peers who are doing a lot better than I am. I'm an average student, to be very honest. Yeah, and that itself sort of drew, how I was in my initial years. It sort of had an influence on how I was in the initial years and how I was finding for a job. So everything was so closed, so isolated, so comfortable because I was kept in that shell.
Yeah.
So it does involve me, but the beauty of going through that experience is the moment I actually had an opportunity to catapult myself into an area where it was totally unknown, that sort of gave me an ability to see how am I bringing myself as a team member?
Hmm.
How am I bringing myself as a team lead then
Hmm.
eventually? How do I then bring value to the table, work as a collaborative team member, and also work with the senior leaders? That actually helped because my past cultural experience brought about how I am today.
Hmm.
It contributed, and I'm thanking that so much to God because at the end of the day, no doubt it was difficult at that
Hmm.
point.
Hmm.
But having that in mind now made me a different leader altogether because how I deal with my people, how I deal with opportunities, how I deal with setbacks were actually shaped by the fact that I had that experience in my culture. It made me a strong person. It made me a person who's willing to actually take something new and
Hmm.
experiment. It also made me a much happier person now because why? I'm telling myself I deserve happiness and
Hmm.
I'm going for it.
Hmm. What a great response. Thank you. And some very interesting lessons in your response for a lot of our viewers and listeners. So, Sita, let's now talk about transformation, technology, and leadership.
Mm.
What does transformation truly mean to you? And what, in your view, are some of the biggest roadblocks to change? Because most of us are human beings and we love status quo or status quo ante.
Yes, absolutely. Same here. So, one thing I would say, if I look at your first question, right, what is truly transformation? Transformation comes about when people accept, and that is sort of comes flowing together with the processes. It becomes part of the day to day, and that is embedded in their day to day,
Mm,
and it becomes a flow. That's when true transformation is taking place.
mm,
Yeah. Now, when it comes to actually change, making that change to transform from one state to another state, there are many roadblocks. You can see it from a technology point of view, you can see it from a process point of view, and you can see from a people point of view. But to be very outright, the biggest challenge I face were people rather than anything else.
mm,
Because at any point in time, you can change the process.
mm.
You can define process because it's defined by human beings,
Yeah.
including technology. If you set it up this way, it'll work this way. It's
Mm,
either left or right, center, wherever you want it to
mm,
go.
mm,
But the main challenge would be people.
mm,
Just like myself, and I look at change when something is impacting me, I find that there is resistance that is coming from inside,
mm.
and that sort of translate to the way we do work, to the way we come for meetings,
Yeah.
to the way we make decisions.
Mm.
It is very, very clear. It's basically people.
Fascinating. Fascinating. And what, in your view, would be three of your top non-negotiables when
Hmm.
initiating a change journey?
Hmm. Non-negotiables will be why are we doing it in the first place?
Mm,
And when I say why, it's not at the surface level. Okay, I'm understanding this, etc. It's fine.
mm,
No. When
mm,
I say why,
mm.
who are the people who are impacted here? Why is it important for them? Why is it important for the organization? As an individual myself, why
Right.
is it important? And then it then flows naturally into the what.
Mm,
So if it is important for the organization and it's important for me as a person to grow,
mm,
what do I do then?
mm,
What is it actually? How
mm,
does it look like? Because as human beings, right, the moment we can't picture something or tangibly touch something,
mm.
it's very difficult to move.
Correct.
It creates a lot of insecurity. And
Mm,
then finally, at the end of the day, if you get the why and the what very, very clear, and you get a buy-in from people, the how becomes very easy
mm.
because
Yes,
everybody is
that's true.
involved with you.
Yeah. Very well said. And what, in your view, is the role of storytelling when it comes to organizational change?
I think storytelling has caught on quite a fair bit right now. I know this is the buzzword now. And storytelling to me is how do you make that person understand what you're trying to do, but relate it back to that person itself, or that individual, or that audience itself. So, to be honest, because there is so many changes happening, Ashutosh,
Mm,
so many. Daily, there is changes
mm,
around us. So for us to ensure that the change lands and continues and sustains, it is very important that we are continuously, it doesn't have to be just at the point of initiating this change. That's where you bring the story and you tell people and you make it relatable to them so that they participate. But it has to be continuous
mm,
throughout the journey of the change, and then the change becomes business as usual.
mm,
So the story is very important because you, as a change agent, it is important for you to continue the journey with meaningful stories, with meaningful data that
mm,
relates back to the audience or the people that is impacted.
mm.
And
Great.
it's very important, right? All the way. So a simple example is, say you have done the change today,
Mm,
you've completed it. Now, what makes you think that the change that you've done today is going to continue tomorrow?
mm.
There's no guarantee.
Yeah.
They might just at the end of the day come back to you saying, we felt that it's not really working. So we're going to change it.
Mm,
Another change is going to overlap. What happens then? Right?
right.
So storytelling is very, very important, but it's also important to come with data points to tell
Mm,
the story.
absolutely. My next question, Sita, is what does authentic leadership mean? And what is your personal philosophy when it comes to developing future ready leaders?
Authentic leadership for me is basically leadership. I mean, a person who stands by his or her team is able to journey with his or her team, is able to connect with his or her team,
Mm,
and at the same time, as a human being, looks at the person and brings that team into success. It
mm,
becomes a team effort. It's human to human at the end of the day. That's what authenticity means. And it also means sharing the most difficult periods. It also means asking for help. And to me, it also means it's important for us to encourage others to actually join you in the journey.
mm,
Enabling others, it's another powerful one.
mm. Thank you. There's another aspect that I have often chatted with leaders like yourself, and that is that how do you help leaders
Hmm.
from fear-based leadership to growth-based leadership?
I think this is also the part where enabling comes in. So it's important to understand the leaders that you are going to stand behind. So when I say stand behind, doesn't mean yes, you bring them into the right forums. Of course, you do bring them into the right forums, put them into the right meetings. But I think the most important thing is how do you back them up? How do you work with them in a constructive manner, giving objective feedback where they can actually take it back,
Mm,
work on it, and come back? And to be honest, Ashutosh, it is a lot of work. It
right,
is. You
right.
will have to spend the time with them.
Mm,
But the beauty of it is how you position them and be a strong pillar helps them have the confidence when they are actually talking in the forum. Now, I'll give you an example. There was a very big meeting with very senior stakeholder. Now he's very, very, he's a nice guy actually,
mm,
to be very honest. But when it comes to meetings, because of his role, he pushes back very strongly. He challenges you. Now, being challenged as a person, we feel scared, right, to actually voice out. Now, when the first meeting happened and one of our team members came forward to actually present the data, he was stammering a lot. There was clearly a lot of insecurity, a lot of fear talking and bringing out the data. Though we know that the data exists and there was very solid, backing of the data as well.
mm,
So what I did was I basically brought this person offline and asked this person, You know something? I mean, what did you feel about that meeting? And do you feel that you're rightly placed? Do you have enough data for that meeting? And the last question was, um, we're going to have more conversations. Would having a one-to-one with this particular senior help you become a bit more confident?
Mm.
And would you think that, for him understanding our, landscape will actually help, mellow down things when we're actually coming for the next round of meetings? So this is how I would approach, and this is how I've been
Yes.
helping my team as well. So
Very
it
good.
is up to you. I mean, I won't say there is prescriptive way,
Mm.
but standing behind the person, being a pillar of support would be the statements I make. But how you do it, it very much depends on you and the
Yeah.
person that you're
Yeah.
actually going to work with,
Yeah.
really.
Very well said. You also coach women and leaders through
Mm.
change. What are some common blind spots you see among them?
The immediate blind spots are really about ourselves. We are desperate for something,
Mm.
but we don't realize what we really truly want and make us happy.
Yeah.
The other one is we fail to realize what's on the other side of the fence,
Mm.
right? Whether you're asking for a promotion
Mm.
or whether you're actually wanting to get something done, but we fail to understand from the other side of the fence. Give you an example, you have a difficult stakeholder for that project.
Mhm.
That person literally keeps sending emails saying, "This is not done. I've still not got this response. And yet we are moving." Blah,
Mm.
blah, blah, blah. These are the kind of emails that are coming across.
Yeah.
So if you see that email firsthand, you're immediately reacting. There's so much anger. I'm doing so much. Why is this guy just sending such an email? Why can't he just call me? We can leave it at that. And the negativity stays, it just
Correct.
stays.
Correct.
But it's about time you take another step and go towards his or her space, trying to be curious and understand. Yes, there will be reactions, of course.
Mm.
But the moment you say, you know what, I really want to make this better, let's work on the immediate problem first. I mean, you said this. I
Mm.
think this is something that I can help.
Yeah.
Can we start with that?
Mm.
Something easy for me as well, right? And
Mm.
that person.
Correct.
And that is already putting a step
Mm.
into his door
Mm. Amazing.
without crowding his space.
Mm. Amazing. So let's talk a little bit now about technology and how technology impacts
Mm.
culture and transformation and all the other great things that you are doing. Sita, what technologies are you most excited about when it comes to improving organizational culture and effectiveness?
Mm. I think one thing I'm really, really excited about, which I'm actually exploring myself to be very blunt, is AI.
Mm.
There are so many AI tools,
Correct.
so many. And initially, yes, there was a fear, but then it came to me saying, I mean, it challenged me, right, in different ways. So I use various AI tools. I mean, there's Claude, there's Gemini, there is ChatGPT, etc. I use a variety of it
Yeah.
because each of them have, their own strengths. Now, what I try to do with them is I use them to actually look at my data,
Mm.
to look at how I think, to look at how I bring myself to office.
Mm.
I also have some discussions, like, for example, I have certain meetings with very senior
Mm.
stakeholders. Now, I give the background without, of course, giving the data points. This is not
Mm.
real, it's fictitious.
Mm.
Looking at those data points, I actually challenge myself and I have a conversation and a role play with the GPTs,
Mm.
practicing, making myself better. That's one scenario.
Yeah.
The other scenario is we are
Mm.
doing, technology changes each day. So
Mm.
migration into different technology also takes place
Yeah.
in our workplaces. So how do I learn then? I can't be going for a 6 month course and then after 6 months coming and doing that migration. It's not going to work, Ashutosh.
Mm.
Things are moving like every
Correct.
day. So
Correct.
how do we learn? And look, certification is one part of it. I don't disagree. But how do we learn quick enough so that for us we can actually be agile in the way we do things? So I
Mm.
use AI again.
Mm.
This is what I'm going to do, and this is what my plans are. And where are my blind spots? And at the same
Mm.
time, this is the challenge that came up to me today.
Mm.
Now I need to make it work, and this is not connecting to this. Data packets are not transferring. Do we need to compress it, etc., etc.? So I actually play around
Mm.
and I learn the whole architecture or the technology through AI.
Mm.
The questions immediately gets answered. I don't have to rely on people to answer those questions.
Yeah.
I'm actually relying now on AI more to
Mm.
understand the technology and work better with people
Correct.
and the technology within the organization.
Very well said. What is your view on the ethical implications of integrating AI
Mm.
into organizational decision making?
That's another thing, right? It's a hot topic for now. A few things are coming to my head right now when you ask that question. It's also about the authenticity of making that decision itself.
Mm.
That's one. See, when you use AI, I feel that it's important for us not to use AI words. It's important for us to understand the context, use it. And why are you making such decisions? Come with data points. Use it. I mean, use AI to help you frame up those skeleton, but
Mm.
it shouldn't be coming from AI. That's one point.
Yeah.
The second point is yes, it's important for us to enable our people.
Mm.
We go out looking for talents, but in actual fact, we do have talents inside. Now, how can we enable those talents to actually take a step forward and continuously learn? AI is going to be a very good platform. And I shared with you how my learning journey has been,
Mm.
with AI itself. So
Mm.
that's going to be another one. The other most important point is we should actually use AI from a cultural standpoint. I think as Indians, Ashutosh,
Mm.
the more knowledge we have, the more humble we should become.
Correct.
So, how can we then use AI to help each other, to come up with plans quickly, to help each other, looking at urgencies that each of us have, the agenda that each of us have? But at the end of the day, we are bringing the whole picture together. I see it from these three angles, and it's really powerful. But I'm sure there are more.
I'm sure,
Very,
but
very sure there are more.
I mean, I just love your perspective. Thank you. So I have time for two more questions for you, Seetha.
Sure.
How do you balance empathy and execution when it comes to intense transformation?
Mm, wow. Both of those, if it is going side by side, if you ask a layman, they will literally say your transformation is not going to succeed.
Absolutely.
I mean, putting the joke aside, but I think it is important when you say empathy, it is also having that understanding of what the other person on the other side of the fence actually is going through.
Mm.
And empathy also, to a large extent, is going to help you deliver the value even greater. Yes, during the journey, you may have to pivot, which is fine,
Mm.
but you're pivoting in such a way that you're understanding the current landscape, the people using it, and at the same time, how the system works. And you're working, you're handshaking with the end users and you're delivering actual value to them.
Mm.
So the value comes out a bit, it's a lot more magnified
Yeah.
rather than not, because it's just not like a project. Oh, okay, you've given me this requirement. This is what I want to do. This is
Mm.
what I've delivered. So give me the appraisals, right? I've done my job. So, but now it's not that anymore. And at the end of the day, a project is not, I guess in the world of agility and VUCA, project really holds very, I think it's just a vehicle, to be very honest. It's very, it's vehicle only. It's the product and the outcome that you deliver. Now, during the journey itself, because you understand, because you feel the pain of the users, because you understand the journey, you've actually experienced the journey yourself, you're able to deliver a product that is finally going to be used, maintained, and sustained.
Mm.
Not in between, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's okay to pivot in the journey of actually going through that project. It's fine. But
Mm.
project is just a vehicle, to be very, very upfront.
Very well said. And my last question for you, Seetha.
Mhm.
Looking ahead, how do you see the intersection of leadership, technology, and transformation evolving
Mm.
in the next few years?
Um, it is evolving daily. I think it will come to a point. I mean, this is personally my view, I have to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And no doubt there is a burst of technological advancement right now, and everybody is jumping on the wagon. I
Mm,
think it'll come to a point where, an explosion takes place. So what I mean by explosion is not a physical explosion, but an explosion takes place where there is a complete awareness suddenly taking place, where it makes us realize that humans are the key component in this world.
mm, mm,
And then everything will revolve around humans,
mhm,
including technology, processes, and AI.
mm,
And we are then going to be leveraging these instruments
mm,
for the betterment of our society.
mm.
That's where I see it moving towards.
Very
And
nice.
I'm praying for it to happen.
I'm sure it will. But on that note, Sita, I just want to say thank you so much for speaking to me about your own amazing journey. I think you've shared some really deep thoughts about yourself with my viewers and listeners, especially when you were talking about pivotal moments. Thank you for talking to me about transformation, technology, and leadership, about the why, what, and how, which are the three non negotiables. Thank you also for speaking to me about empathy, about authentic leadership, about some of the common blind spots, about the organizational culture and how technology will impact that, and finally, about how you see the future. Thank you for speaking to me and good luck to you.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.